He was just the janitor, no one noticed. Until one night, he spotted the subtle signs everyone else ignored and saved the powerful, lonely CEO from the brink of death. You won't believe what happened next. Like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories. Ethan Reyes was used to blending into the background. As a single dad working nights as a janitor in a towering corporate skyscraper, he moved quietly from floor to floor, emptying bins, wiping desks, and vacuuming carpets. While executives chased deadlines and fortunes, most people barely noticed him, just the man with a mop, invisible in their world of power suits and high heels. But Ethan noticed everything. Years of raising his daughter alone had sharpened his instincts, making him attuned to subtle changes in people. And one late evening, those instincts told him something was wrong. On the top floor, the CEO's office light was still on. Vivian Hart, the youngest female billionaire in the city, was known for her icy demeanor and solitary habits. She never smiled, never stayed idle, and rarely spoke to anyone unless it was business. To Ethan, she looked like a woman carrying a mountain on her shoulders. Tonight, she looked worse as he passed her open door. He saw her sitting at her desk, one hand pressed to her temple, her face pale and sweaty. Papers were scattered in front of her, but her eyes seemed glassy, unfocused. She reached for a pen, but her fingers fumbled clumsily, sending it rolling to the floor. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Ethan asked cautiously, stepping into the doorway. "I'm fine," Vivian replied, but her voice slurred slightly. She stood, as if to prove her point, but stumbled against her chair. Ethan's heart pounded. He'd seen those symptoms before when his late wife had suffered a stroke. The dizziness, slurred speech, loss of coordination. It was all there. Without waiting for permission, he rushed in. "You're not fine. You might be having a stroke." Her eyes widened. "What? No. Hi, ma'am, listen to me. You need help now." He was already pulling his phone, dialing emergency services. While waiting, he kept her talking, checking her grip strength, keeping her awake and alert until paramedics arrived. Vivian was rushed to the hospital, and the doctors confirmed it. She had been minutes away from permanent damage. The next morning, Ethan returned to work like nothing happened. But when he entered the building, security stopped him not to remove him, but to escort him upstairs. Vivian was waiting in the lobby of her office, dressed simply in a cream sweater, no trace of her usual icy armor. "Ethan," she said softly, "you didn't just save my life. You saved me from a future I couldn't survive. Everyone else just saw a tired workaholic. You saw me." From that day, she made sure he was noticed, not just by her, but by the entire company. She offered him a better position, better pay, and a place in her life. And slowly, the woman who had been lonely for years found herself sharing lunches, laughter, and late-night talks with the man who had once only passed by her door. Because sometimes, the quietest person in the room is the one who changes your life forever. Ethan Reyes never imagined his life would turn out like this. Working nights as a janitor in a gleaming glass skyscraper, while raising his 8-year-old daughter, Mia, alone. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady, honest work. He'd learned to take pride in the small things, floors that shone, offices that smelled faintly of lemon polish, the satisfaction of a job done right. Most people didn't see him. To the executives in $1,000 suits, he was invisible. Man who emptied the trash after they'd gone home, a shadow in the corner. Ethan didn't mind. The less attention he got, the fewer questions people asked about his life, about why a man with military training had traded in combat boots for rubber gloves. But Ethan noticed everything. In his old life, as a combat medic, paying attention had meant the difference between life and death. Those habits never left him, and one Thursday night, they saved someone's life. The top floor belonged to Vivian Hart, the elusive CEO of Hart and Lane International. She was a legend in the business, world young, brilliant, and untouchable. The tabloids called her the Ice Queen, though Ethan could see that beneath her perfect posture and cool gaze was someone who carried a bone-deep loneliness. She was always the last to leave. Tonight, it was nearly 11 p.m., and her office light still glowed. Ethan had just finished vacuuming the conference room when he passed her open door. Vivian was seated at her desk, one hand gripping the edge as if to steady herself. Her normally flawless complexion was pale, her breathing uneven. She reached for a pen, but it slipped from her fingers, rolling to the floor. Ethan bent to pick it up. "Here you go, ma'am." When she looked at him, he froze. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused. "Thank you," she murmured, but her words dragged, slurred. Every nerve in his body went on alert. He had seen this before. In Afghanistan. In his wife. 2 years before she died. "Ma'am, are you feeling dizzy?" he asked carefully. "I'm fine, just tired," she replied, trying to stand but her knees buckled. He caught her before she fell. "You're not fine, you're having a stroke." "I know. That's not," she tried to protest. But her right arm hung slightly limp. He pulled out his phone and dialed emergency services without hesitation. "This is Ethan Reyes, Heart and Lane Tower, top floor. Possible stroke. Victim female, early 30s. Symptoms started minutes ago." While waiting for the paramedics, Ethan kept her talking. "Can you tell me your name? Do you know where you are?" She blinked at him, breathing hard. "Vivian Hart. My office." "Good. Stay with me." "Squeeze my hand." Her grip was weak, but present. He crouched beside her, his voice steady, even though his pulse was pounding. "You're going to be okay. Just keep looking at me." Minutes later, the elevator doors opened, and paramedics rushed in. Ethan briefed them quickly, using the clipped, precise tone of a man who had done this before. As they wheeled Vivian out, her eyes locked on his. For a moment, her mask cracked, and he saw something vulnerable, almost fearful. The next morning, Ethan expected nothing to change. He went back to work as usual, emptying trash cans, avoiding the executive floor. But halfway through his shift, security approached him. "Mr. Reyes, Ms. Hart would like to see you." He hesitated. "She's back," she insisted. When the elevator doors opened, Vivian was there, not in her power suit, but in a cream sweater and jeans, hair pulled back, a hospital wristband still around her wrist. She looked softer, almost human. "Ethan," she said quietly, "the doctors told me. If you hadn't acted when you did, I'd have lost the ability to walk, maybe even speak. Everyone else just thought I was tired. You saw me." He shifted, awkwardly. "I just did what anyone would have known," she interrupted. "You did what no one else did." She stepped closer. "You've been invisible to this place for too long. That changes now." From that day forward, Ethan wasn't just the janitor. Vivian offered him a new position in corporate safety training, drawing on his medic background. And slowly, over coffee breaks and late-night conversations, the Ice Queen and the quiet single dad found themselves sharing more than just an office building. They shared trust, laughter, and the beginnings of something neither had expected, because sometimes the smallest act of noticing is the first step toward changing to lives forever.